Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Gotta wait for that little dip hump of music to come by and come through and go forward. Hello, my name is Caddy Frink. I am the host of Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950. Who's across the table with me?
Sarah Kemp.
Sarah Kemp, like the
Ice cream.
There you go.
Every time.
Every time. Got to do a little bit of the humor there.
Yes.
So welcome everybody. We are listening. We are listening, and you are listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950, and we are Minnesota Recovery Connection.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you, everybody? Hope you're sitting back, maybe having a sip of coffee or something like that. I would like to say thank you to many contributors to Minnesota Recovery Connection. We've had some incredible donors and funders over the last year and a half or so. So we'll give out a shout out to the Patrick and Amy Butler Foundation, the Otto Bremer Trust, Sauer Foundation, Hardenberg Foundation. But most and foremost, I'd like to thank many of the donations that have been coming in.
Yes.
We've seen a flurry. We are still on our campaign to fill our coffers at Minnesota Recovery Connection, coffers being bank. No, just kidding. No, not kidding.
No, not
at
kidding.
all. But
Just call it what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have been giving us donations
Yes.
lately. We did a call to action with Cynthia, our executive director, a couple shows ago, and I think we have been reaping the wonderful benefits of that.
Yes, we have.
Thank you for all of you that have listened to this show and feel value and are grateful for it, because I'm grateful for you.
And grateful for what we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection and see the value in what we do.
Yeah. So again, we're always looking for a recognition at our organization. If you have the ability to donate to us, we will let you do that. And also our volunteers.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We can't survive without them.
No, we cannot. And we appreciate every single one of you that have volunteered over the years. If you're interested in volunteering, check out our website, minnesotarecovery.org. On the top, there's a volunteer button. Just click on that. You'll get all the information you need.
And then you'll see Sarah.Kemp at
Yes.
minnesotarecovery.org.
Yes.
So we're doing all kinds of plugs here. But at the very most and the very least, what we want to do is say thank you.
Yes.
Because
we couldn't do it without any of the financial donations, the time donations that our volunteers gives us. So without any of you, we couldn't do what we do.
And we are grateful. So the last couple of shows that Sarah and I have been together.
Yes.
Well, actually, we're talking when we started off our campaign for fundraising.
Wait.
No, hang on a second.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sarah, got to go back to the beginning, Caddy. It's only been a week. I just was moving on.
You were too excited.
I was too excited. So Sarah, what's right with you today?
What's right with me today is that I'm finally feeling healthier.
Oh.
I have been going to the gym at least 4 to 5 days a week.
I'm so impressed.
I have a personal trainer that I meet twice a week, and eating better, eating healthier, and it's starting to make me actually feel better.
Is it really?
It is.
Tell me how.
I feel like I have more energy. I feel like the bloat has gone down a little bit.
Nice.
And just overall, just more energy.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's hard work. And trust me, I want an Oreo just as bad as Caddy does. But I'm trying really hard not to. Or if I do, it's very limited.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. Caddy, what's right with you today?
What's right with me today is I met with a very good friend earlier this week to overcome a procrastination project.
Wow, the way you say it.
It was one that I had been putting off, not for days, not for weeks.
Was it years?
Not for months, but what did you just say?
Years.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it takes people who are part of our community. This is a woman, her name is Kim, who I met in the rooms of Al-Anon, actually. No, where the heck? I can't remember where I met her.
You've
I've
been
known her
friends for that
so
long.
Yeah. I mean, her son was in diapers and he's now a grown man living in Chicago. So for the love of Pete, it's been about 20 years. But when you meet people who are good people who stick with you and
Yes.
you sometimes don't talk, we didn't talk for a couple, 2-3 years because I worked for her in my previous work life, having my own business. And then I took on this incredible opportunity that I have with Minnesota Recovery Connection. And so we just sort of drifted.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah. And now we've drifted back together. So what I'm grateful for is that we can reconnect with people and say, you know
Yes.
what? Me saying I need help with something and somebody says, sure, what do you need?
Yeah.
That's what I'm grateful
And
for.
knowing that you can call somebody.
Yeah. And that's, it's really the essence of what recovery is. And that is what we try to do in our organization, but in our own lives, in our recovery journey, is that we try to reach out to people, or we want to let people know that they can reach out for help.
Yes. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a shameful thing. If you need help, us as an organization, Minnesota Recovery Connection, or there are other organizations out there that are more than willing to support you as well.
Yeah. And so what I was going to say before Sarah right-sized me,
See,
which is
the
just
unofficial official co-host was helpful.
Keeps me on track. What I want to say is that when Cynthia came in here and we were talking about Minnesota Recovery Connection, looking for support in the community in whatever ways you can, we've been talking about our foundational pieces that we have at Minnesota Recovery Connection. Darnell and Sarah came in a couple shows ago and talked about peer-to-peer services. And then last time Sarah and I were together, I think that was last week.
I think it was just last week.
Just last week. We talked about advocacy and how important advocacy. So our pillars of our organization are peer-to-peer services, advocacy, and then we talk about education. And I had to stretch Miss Sarah's brain this morning.
Oh, I can still feel it.
Yes, on what is education. Because we think of education as going to school, the classes that I train, the things that we do. But Sarah, what else do we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection?
We help educate through our Walk for Recovery. I will say, if people aren't sure what recovery is, coming to the Walk for Recovery and learning what it is, learning different resources. Also, between our internship program and the AmeriCorps Recovery Corps navigators we have on our staff, teaching them how to be in a workplace, how to work through workplace conflict or disagreements, how to have phone etiquette, email etiquette, and just being a productive person in the workspace.
And there are people who have struggled with substance use disorder and have been moving through that. And some of it, there's a young woman who was here a couple, 2-3 weeks ago, Brandy, who is part of our organization, and she had not been in the workforce for quite a while. And she's now learning all of those skills. And we can tell people about recovery, but when they live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it, and then they get to take that next step
and do the next thing, getting back into the workforce, getting back into the workplace environment, it can be a lot for somebody who hasn't been in it for a while. And so what we strive to do is to help people get comfortable being back into a workplace.
Because I think there's the element of helping somebody be educated and finding themselves again, becoming a productive person in society. Because some people who are struggling with substance use disorder, they were not productive. They actually took from community. And we see a lot of regret in that.
Yes, we have.
And what they've done is they've maybe utilized systems and services that were out there, but now the individuals feel like it's time to kind of repay,
give back
to the spaces and places that were so generously available to them. But now I get to maybe have a job or get more education, and I get to refill those coffers of both self as well as give back to the community in general.
And that's the number one, I know we're talking about education, but that's the number one thing I hear about from our volunteers. They want to give back to the community that gave to them when they needed it
most.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break in a hot second here. And what we want to do is when we come back, we'll talk about all the educational opportunities that Minnesota Recovery Connection has, but we're going to tie together that with what does recovery look like? How do we utilize our peer-to-peer services? And when we advocate for people like we have at our organization, and how they benefit from it, and how total community benefits from it. So,
and it all ties together.
It all ties together because that's what we do. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station, hosted by Caddy Frink and to be co-host,
Sarah Kemp. Or on the TV.
Oh, you know what? That
such happy music to bring us back to the conversation about recovery. Sarah, we're
and
talking
education.
And education.
I was going to say it like that, but I didn't know if you'd let me.
You are now the unofficial co-host. So
one day it will be official, so we can
Yes,
just stop adding all the extra words.
So welcome back to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution here with Caddy and Sarah
Kemp.
There you go, like the ice cream. We are back at Redefining Recovery Revolution. I already said that here at AM 950, the progressive radio station.
It's good to know that sometimes she flubs it up because it makes me feel that if I do, it's okay.
Yes, absolutely. We just really want you to know who you're listening to. So when Sarah and I left last year, we were talking about the importance of education and education in college and education in high school and education in secondary education. All those things are really amazing. And that's actually sometimes what happens. I mean, one of our employees at Minnesota Recovery Connection, Alicia Dottie, is going to college.
She is starting in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And so she's super anxious about it.
Yes.
Of course. But because of her recovery journey, her ability to work at Minnesota Recovery Connection, doing peer-to-peer services, fine-tuning her skills on writing and listening and being able to kind of concentrate again, she decided, you know what? I had some education in the back. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose on camera here, folks. Just got to do it.
Well, and I think too, going off what Alicia is going through, she's been with Minnesota Recovery Connection for 3-ish years, I think. I don't know. But she's found her niche.
Yeah.
And recovery gave her that.
Yeah.
That she was able to come to Minnesota Recovery Connection. She found her niche within the working with people with justice impacted backgrounds.
Yep.
And that's what she wants to do.
Yep.
And without her recovery, she might not have
ever found that.
Yeah.
And so again, we keep talking about how important it is to help people discover who they are. And that's what happens when individuals figure out that they have a substance use disorder. The community wraps their arms around them. People find their footing again. Takes a little while.
It can.
It can take a little while. For me, when I was coming into my own after not using substances, using alcohol back in the day, took a little while to just sort of figure out who I was. Luckily, I had a workplace that was like, okay, you can just do the best that you can.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I remember Sarah and I were just talking about the good old days when we found our recovery, but we had consequences that brought us to our recovery.
Yes.
I had a second DWI back in the day, and I had to have an ankle monitor. So anybody who's shocked out there, don't be shocked. Yeah, I had.
I'm a little shocked because I don't think I knew that part of the story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had one.
I'm shocked.
Well, I got past it.
If there was music, I'd play it right now.
But no, I had an ankle monitor for. No, I didn't have an ankle. Did I? Yeah, I did. Because I had the little beeper at home, so I had to be home at a certain time.
Oh, and if you weren't at home at a certain time, you get in trouble.
I get in trouble. But these are all learnings of what we go through because there are consequences in many cases to what we did. But it all falls into what you said, Sarah, and that is all these things that we've gone through from getting into our recovery, sober, clean time are all part of a learning process. And
can be if you let it be.
If you let it. Oh man.
Are you gonna say that?
No, but that was amazing. And because if you let it, because sometimes people will push back and say, I'm just going to go back to my use because that's just easier.
It's what I know. It's what I know the outcome is going to be. All this recovery stuff, I don't know what's going to happen. It causes me more anxiety. Or I'm not getting what I thought I would get out of recovery.
Because many times people don't wait long enough to kind of let the dust settle and the agitation and the discomfort that you feel, and maybe your shame comes in again, or the things that you did in the past. And so if we think about the recovery process, it's all about retraining and re-educating your brain.
Yes, it is.
You know,
It can be scary for some people.
Really scary. Yeah.
And uncomfortable, which I totally understand.
Well, one of the educational pieces that we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection, you've heard me mention it practically every show. Bless you for just letting me indulge you. But we do this Recovery Coach Academy, which is the peer recovery specialist training. And literally, we're in a current class right now, and y'all know that we pre-record, so I've literally got a class that's on lunch right now, and we're gonna boogie on back to Minnesota Recovery Connection. But as the week continues with this class, I've got 20 people in class, and I'm seeing these little light bulbs pop.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about doing the class with you, is seeing the light bulbs come on, seeing the changes that happen with the connections that people make within the class, like talking to each other, exchanging emails, exchanging phone numbers, and just becoming their own community.
Right. And I think one of the several people have had the ability to apply some of the things that are given to them through training with Sarah, with myself, with other people in the class. One gentleman by the name of Cody said that he had an individual at the recovery home that he lives at and he manages who was intoxicated and was kind of, erratic and
the way that it can be.
And he said he used some of the tactics and some of the skills that
from motivational interviewing.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And he said, I kind of got a little different response from him. And he said it helped me because I was able to talk to him and be a little bit more calm and maybe figure out how to manage the situation rather than react to the situation.
That's lovely.
And I thought, because sometimes we are going to react because we don't understand.
And we're human.
But now can we kind of sit back, contemplate, maybe listen to somebody a little bit more, even though the gentleman might have been rambling on. Lord knows I rambled back in the day. I still ramble a lot. But this is the whole part of this educational part. So I see a class of 20 people that Sarah gets to sit in on and watch their growth. And by the end of the week, they're kind of new people in recovery.
Yeah, they are.
What about you? Like when you took the class back in the day?
My God. Do you know how long ago that was?
I know.
Almost 3 years ago.
Was it? Did you feel different after the class?
No. I mean, no.
No. Throw Caddy.
That's...
Throw me under the bus.
I think what it was because I had the previous education because I went to school for my bachelor's in drug and alcohol counseling.
Right.
So I had the basis.
She was all fancy pants.
No, I'm not fancy. I just had some prior education before coming to Minnesota Recovery Connection.
Okay, let me ask the question a different way about education.
Okay.
Did you, Sarah Kemp, feel different about your own recovery?
Yes.
At the end of the class. Yes. There we go. Maybe I should have rephrased that a little bit.
So there goes to show the importance of how you ask a question. No, yes, I did. I was more open because for the longest time, and I don't know about you, but AA and NA were the only ways.
Yep.
That was it and nothing else.
Right.
And so to learn not only from just being at Minnesota Recovery Connection, but hearing like all the different pathways to recovery. So that made me feel less weird about not liking meetings.
Right.
Because I was like, am I the only one that doesn't like meetings? Because everyone else I know goes to them and likes them, but I don't.
It's not my jam. Why?
Like, what is this? So what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And so to open my brain and my eyes to that there's other ways, that it doesn't have to be this traditional model.
Right.
It can be your gardening or going to the gym or eating healthier or, whatever that looks like.
Right. Because, and this is where that part about us talking to the greater community of people who have loved ones or people that they care for, when we talk about recovery, recently somebody said that they wanted somebody to go to treatment because that was the only thing. And it's like, and it's not. It's the only thing we are familiar with because that's what we've been sort of indoctrinated in to think. And it's like, I gave the option to this person. Why don't you have this person give me a call and I can explain what we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection, because the person that they want to go into treatment doesn't want to go.
Can't make them.
And so what can we offer them in alternatives? And that's the key to us and what we do is offering those alternatives.
And that's what that's what opened my mind the most about the class was all the alternatives, because you don't hear about it otherwise.
No.
Or at least back when I got into recovery, or tried to in 2016, you didn't hear about
what are other models?
Yeah.
What are other ways to think about it?
Yeah.
And that's why we value this peer-to-peer services so much, and this opportunity for people to look at themselves, first of all, and say, I need help. And then somebody like Sarah or myself or Darnell or Alicia or Tom, any of our people that work at Minnesota Recovery Connection, say, hey, I know this recovery jig is tough. It's hard.
It makes a difference.
And then you just sort of, you can sort of kind of relax a little bit and say, okay, I don't have to do things the way people think
the traditional way to do it.
Yeah. And we use the term traditional, not in a negative way. Please understand,
No.
people, treatment works many times for a lot of people, but sometimes it's not the first thing we should think about. We need to think about maybe easing people into.
And help. And I think too, letting people figure out, or empowering them, I should say, empowering them to figure out their recovery. They're more apt to keep with it, hopefully. They're more apt to have fun with it, I would hope, at least.
Exploring other opportunities.
Exploring it and just having their recovery how they see it.
Right.
Whether it is going to A, that's just fine. But if they want to explore I don't know why I keep going back to you and gardening,
well,
but I
because
do.
I could talk about it all the time.
But if someone wants to explore gardening and that becomes their pathway, that's okay too.
Yeah. Or going to what we have as an alternative at Minnesota Recovery Connection, which is an all recovery meeting, which is really much more of a social, it's a social conversation about 4 topics of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Oh, we remembered this time.
I know, I got them all. And so the idea is that when we can put together I'm going to use the term holistic wraparound service with person-centered recovery plan and or idea that is based on what the person wants to do, as you said, Sarah, they're much more likely to follow through rather than we say, hey, this is what your person who cares about you, that's terrified of what you're doing, this is what I think you should do. Well, they're not going to be as open to it because maybe they tried it before, they heard it stunk.
It's like what we say in class on the first day. You don't should anybody.
You
could somebody. Because if you give someone that empowerment of choice, they're more apt to do it.
Yep.
So if I said, hey, Caddy, could you go to treatment?
I'd say, maybe. But I would be more likely to say, what is that, Sarah?
Yeah. Instead of me saying, Caddy, you should go to treatment because you're a hot mess. And she'd be like, and then she'd flip me the bird. Most likely.
Back in the day, it probably would have. So it's this constant reminder that we have in our organization that we want to give people the tools who are both on their journey or maybe still in their active substance use that catch on to this program and they hear it from a friend or hear it from a person and say, hey, listen to these folks. You have other choices to your recovery journey. So let's give you some tools. Let's give you some ideas. Hence, let's educate you, which is one of our pillars that we have about you get to make your own decisions. Now, you might have consequences that you've encountered, which is why I had an ankle monitor that I surprised Sarah with.
Dun, dun, dun. That's what I meant to do earlier.
But you might have consequences that you have to answer to.
Yeah, I had warrants and I had to go to jail and go in front of a judge and lost my license.
Well, me too. But you might have to do all those things within the recovery journey, and you might have to, and you are told you must do things. Yes. But what we want to give you as an alternative at our organization, we want to say you might have to do that, but you can also come to us and we can have this really different kind of conversation because you're going to get people telling you what to do, how to do it, where to do it, what you should do, with all those consequences of maybe your actions. But here in this organization, what we do is we say, how do you want to do it? Aside from all that
it's all
stuff.
about personal empowerment.
Yep.
When our peers are working with somebody.
Yep. And what we get the absolute gift, and you tell me, I have seen so many people flourish once they come into Minnesota Recovery Connection, get services, they become just a more confident version, a more self-aware
version of themselves and more, I think, just more comfortable in their skin.
Yeah. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a brightness that happens to people. There's like a light that turns on that has been dimmed for so long.
And I think too, how do I phrase this? Having somebody that is sitting across the table or next to you at a table that understands it, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
And that they're like, oh, okay, so you get what it's like to go through withdrawals, or you get what it's like to not have a job, or, you know, whatever the situation is, we get it.
And it's part of the ability to have that understanding and give opportunities. So there's a gentleman in my class that said I have to mention his name. So Tyrese.
Okay. Well, you said that real quick.
I know. And Randall and Cody. And let's see, I'm going to run through the class so they all will listen on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Okay, I got to run through it. So I have Duran, I have Ahmed, I have Muhammad, I have Abby, I have Jessica, I have Cody, I have Tyrese, I have Jesus, we have Melissa, we have Skylar, we have Brandon, we have Sai. Oh, boy, I should have done a count on this one. And there's a couple more. It'll come to me.
If she just blurts out names, you'll know why.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why I mention their names is that they are literally taking a week of their time to become the peer recovery specialist for the community that we represent. And they are sitting in their class for a week, listening to a lot of what I have to say, but other people have to say. And that is like education.
Yeah. And I want to point out too, if you are just interested in learning more about what recovery is, you could take the class too.
Yeah, you don't have to want a job. You can, and that was the beginning of the, you know, we talk about education back in the day of Minnesota Recovery Connection. There was no job behind it. So people just took the class because they wanted to like see, what does recovery look like differently?
And I think it would be I'm a little biased, so sorry.
Really?
just a smidge. But I think if it's a great course to take if you just want more education on what recovery is, what substance use disorder is, and how we can all work together and not be so polarizing or enhance the stigma. We can, you know, learn to get rid of the stigma or, you know, whatever it is. But if you are interested, I highly suggest it.
Well, and one of the women who's in the class, she is a woman who is an ally to the recovery community and has an individual that she's struggling with. And so part of the reason why she's taking the class is one, for her education for the job that she's doing, but then also to help her figure out what her person needs. And what I've seen from this individual is that she's doing probably some self-shaming because of the way that she's approached it with the person that she cares for.
That's too bad.
But what she's also learned is that there's another way. And that's what we have this beautiful opportunity to do, is we get to say, you get to look at how to help somebody in coming to them and saying, rather than what's wrong with you, what happened to you. And see, these are these small little pieces, these little bits of how this training has been put together that I can take very little. I just give all the credit to all the people who have helped this training come together, that I'm so blessed to be able to give to people. They take these little bits and they can apply, like Cody did with his person. And then this person will bring a new way of saying, hey, you know what? I need you to go into treatment. Instead, they're going to say, what do you think treatment might look like for you? Do you think that's something that you want to do? And if not, then here's some other alternatives that I picked up some tips and some tricks from the class that I took.
You know what's also really cool?
What?
Is when you see your participant take the class.
Oh, isn't that just super wonderful?
That's really cool too.
Yeah, because they're all of a sudden, they've gotten the support of the peer recovery specialist, i.e. Sarah, with a couple of individuals. They have gotten the idea that Sarah will advocate for that person. Always advocate. And then we get to that education piece. So we have many times when we can have a full circle moment with people.
And it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Just to know that I had a smidgen part of it, just because I helped people get through, you know, whatever they needed to at the time. And then they realize that this is something they want to do themselves, and they come to us to do the training because we're amazing.
Of course.
It's just really cool to see.
Yeah. And I think about one of our people, his name is Tom, came to me and asked me about an individual that he was familiar with from another part of his life. And that person has been trained to be a peer recovery specialist, has gotten certified, but is in a bigger part of Minnesota. And so what Tom asked me, he says, how can this person do work in northern Minnesota? And I said,
because there's not a whole lot up there.
But there is, because Minnesota Recovery Connection has a partnership with Recovery Alliance Duluth, and Recovery Alliance Duluth has a surrogate space north of that. And so I was able to give, this is the beauty of when you have community. Minnesota Recovery Connection, key word there, folks.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Building community. I was able to say, hey, Tom, let's tell this person to contact this person at Recovery Alliance Duluth, Celie Dudley. Always say her name if I can. And then they can help him move forward to try to help people in that part of Minnesota. So what we've done is we've gotten somebody educated. They're certified. They want to do the work. We've given them the tools and the advocacy. And now they get to take this peer-to-peer work and bring it someplace where it needs to go. I mean, it sort of brings what we do into full circle.
And it's really cool to see.
It's so amazing to see, because we know that even if somebody comes to volunteer at Minnesota Recovery Connection because they have to do their community service, which there again, they have to do it. They chose to come to us. We gave them the opportunity. They saw that they can look at their recovery differently. And then they did what they did, but they went out into the world, and whether they came back ever again after that community service, they learned something about themselves, or that there's a bunch of wacky, wonderful people that work at Minnesota Recovery Connection.
And I think too, when it comes to volunteers, because that's another passion of mine that I do, they are so appreciative of the energy that we provide in our office space, the community that we provide in our office space. Like, I have volunteers that tell me, I had one that called me this morning. She asked me to take her off for the rest of the month. She's like, I'm really going to miss being there every day because I like being in your guys' space,
right?
Because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel safe, all the good things. And I'm like, and because I'm in it every day, I don't think about it.
Right.
I don't see it because I'm just in it. I'm like, we worked really hard to do this.
Right.
And now it's coming to fruition. And then the more they're comfortable with us, the more they hang around, and then they might want to do the class, and then they go off and do wonderful things.
Or they don't even have to take the class.
Well, yes, but that's primarily the progression.
But in many cases, but the idea is there's a safe space.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, to your words before, in a traditional way. It gets to look the way we've established it within all the recovery community organizations that are around the state of Minnesota. I mentioned RAD, but there's all kinds of other ones that do amazing work like we do. Yes. All nonprofit organizations that are doing this work because we are soulfully invested in it.
And passionate
in every way, because we know that it works. It doesn't work with everybody. And sometimes people will go back to their use, but we have seen people come back and say, I went out, I had to give had to give it a one
just in cases,
just in case they needed to do just a little revisit of some behaviors. But then we've seen people come back and say, but now I'm back because I need a refresh. And you all accept the fact that it's okay if I went out and had a reuse. I'm not going to be, told
we're not going to
judge
you,
and we're not going to shame you. We're going to say, it can be part of recovery, but it doesn't have to be part of recovery.
But if it is, we don't judge.
We just give people an opportunity to become the people that they are looking to become, and give them the tools, give them the resources. Another one of the individuals that we worked with, her name is Kristen. She was with which program?
Twin Cities Rise.
And that is in
Minneapolis. They do a lot of, like, if you've been out of work for a while, they'll give you job skills trainings. They talk about emotional intelligence. That's part of the 8-week program. You go through a whole emotional intelligence thing. And then if you want to, you can do an internship with an organization. So like how I came to Minnesota Recovery Connection back in the day.
Yeah.
I went to Twin Cities Rise when I got in recovery, and then I came into Minnesota Recovery Connection. Whoa. And
could you say that any faster, my friend?
because I'm looking at the time. Just making sure. So Kristen, who came from Twin Cities Rise, did an internship with us.
Yeah. And when we come back from break, I want to just sort of tell you and let you know what I saw develop in her over her period of time with us, because it really is about empowering, instilling, giving hope, giving appreciation, teaching skills, interactions. So when we come back, we'll have an interaction with you.
Yes, and I'll be much slower.
Yeah,
promise.
she won't talk so fast. But thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery Revolution here with Sarah and Caddy.
Thanks for listening.
Because without it, there's no song. And this house needs love in it. Cause
I don't know why.
Wow.
I
That
it like moves music in my soul to listen to that. And it's just like I know when it's going to chime in there, folks. So hello, we're back. Sarah and
Caddy.
yeah, I should have said
Wow.
Caddy and Sarah.
That did confuse me for a second. I'm like, no, I'm not Caddy.
Here we're back with
Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution on AM 950, the progressive radio station.
and we are hosted by Minnesota Recovery Connection, because that's who we work for.
That is who we work for.
So last we left you, we were mentioning Kristen, who I just want to talk about how the fullness of a human came to be in 8 weeks' time. Kristen came in. She was a little shy. She was a little quiet. And with the supervision that Sarah gave her, with the opportunities of growth that we gave her, empowering her she was like our manual making machine.
She was. She loved it too.
I know.
And I think it's because just having that repetition
of doing something and doing it well.
Yes.
And learning that it's like communicating with, it's like, okay, can you print off the next thing? Okay. I'm missing this. I need to follow up with that. It gave her skills on how to communicate.
Yes.
It gave her skills on how to continue to learn how to do tasks. And as that unfolded, I could see her confidence grow.
And I also saw it because she figured out that she was interested in the justice
impacted population.
Yes, I just drew a blank there. That she really wanted to work with those individuals because that was a passion of hers. And so she was able to do our pen pal program with the help from Alicia. So she got to grow in that space as well. And then she took the class.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. What happened is that she just began to build more confidence, kind of find a direction to go in. And this is a woman, I don't know exactly all of her previous story, but when you come into recovery and you are still finding yourself, when you come to our place or other places that offer, like Rise gave her the opportunity to get employment re-entry, and then she came to us, what happens is that she begins to build up her skills and her confidence.
Yes,
and let me tell
huge.
you, that's the nut that I think anybody who has got somebody who is either in recovery or wants to be in recovery, their confidence is so broken because they have felt as though they've been shamed, stigmatized, told a lot of things that are negative, that when we can lift them up and give them an opportunity. And throughout the week in class, I kind of saw her personality come out a little bit more and say a little bit more, talk a little bit more, because I think what does happen when people struggle with substance use disorder, we cave in.
Yes.
We are not
isolate. We don't talk a lot.
And when somebody is coming back into their own, they begin to like wake up. And that's when I say I get to see bright lights in people.
Have their own opinions, have their own thoughts, and not be afraid to voice them.
Yeah. Because for a long time we were just shushed because we shushed ourselves. And so, to sort of take this to the level of people who are listening, if the person that you want to help or you're the person and you feel like you don't have a voice, come find organizations that will say, we will meet you where you're at.
It will help you find your voice.
Or even discover you have one again.
Yes.
I've seen people that have come in as volunteers at the front desk and they're fine with answering the phone.
Because it's easy. It's not, you don't have to do a whole lot of interaction if you don't want to.
Right.
You can just be on your little, in your little
space.
And you don't have to interact if you don't want to.
But then in time, if we all come up and we sort of start talking to people and say, hey, tell me why you're volunteering here. Tell me what brought you here. And then all of a sudden you hear the story unfold, and you're like, there's the human.
Yes, and that's the beautiful thing.
It's one of those things that I think it's truly, I've said gift and I've said honored so many times, but please, folks, I'm not bullhankying you.
No, she's not. I can tell. I'm looking at her.
It's so exciting. It's exhausting too, isn't it, Sarah?
It can be.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Working with humans, it can be
Yes.
a lot, but you know what? When we see people's lives turn around and we begin to see them open up and we begin to see them engage in their
Recovery.
plan, it is amazing.
And I think for me, just because I don't do a whole lot of peer work, when I saw my participant when I met with her and she told me she was going to do the class and how excited she was, and then I helped write a letter so that she could do it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. This is what makes it worth it. Because you have those days where you do forget why you do this.
Yeah.
Or at least I do.
We get in sort of the doldrums. We get into here we go again. Here we go again.
And so I kind of forgot why I did it. To be honest with you, I was just in that mindset of like,
here we go.
Good
day.
Yeah. But then when she told me that she was able to do the class and she was so excited, and it's just, that's why I do it.
Yeah. Well, and then I get inspired when I get to do the training, because then I see all these lights of these humans go on, and they're so enthusiastic and they're excited, and actually sometimes a little scared too. They're
I think a lot of them were scared on Monday. I remember.
What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah. Well, and it's also, some volunteers say that too. Some volunteers are scared when they come in, have social anxiety. I do my best to make it where I get to know all the volunteers on some level. As the coordinator, I feel like it's important for me to know everybody. And that also helps remind me why I do what I do.
Yeah. So if we haven't said it enough, we love what we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection. It's sometimes trying, but most of the time there's an inspirational part of the day. There's an inspirational person. When I get to train a class, which I absolutely adore, but I get worn out from, because working with a lot of humans, they sometimes,
a lot.
But every morning I come in and I'm re-inspired again. And
you want to come to work, and that's the difference.
Exactly. Because we get to help people on their journey who are going to help other people.
And we need that more than ever now.
Yeah, we have a lot of people hurting out there, folks. And many of you may have never been affected by substance use disorder, but I promise you, somebody in your midst is either quietly going through their struggle, maybe loudly going through their struggle.
But it's just always remember, you never know what a person is going through.
Yeah.
Completely, unless you ask.
Yeah.
And they may still lie because they're shameful.
Yeah.
So just be there and listen to them.
Yes. So we really appreciate you listening to Redefining Recovery Revolution. We want to remind you that we have our Walk for Recovery.
September 13th.
Where?
At the State Capitol grounds from 10 until 3. There'll be 8 or 9 food trucks. There'll be a kid zone with the bouncy house. We'll have face painting. There'll be animals.
Recovery pets.
Ben Afquack will be there. So Ben Afquack.
Yes. We also have upwards of about 100 tables of community members, some sponsors. Thank you very much for all your sponsorship, all of you.
And community partners.
I said that
already. Sorry, I was not.
She wasn't listening, folks. Part of the job, just so you know, member co-host, listen to the person.
I'm embarrassed now.
No, don't be embarrassed. But community members, sponsors, we have music, we have a DJ, we have all kinds of different things that you can experience. Then we have our Rally Caps for Recovery Twins game. Who are we playing?
The Yankees.
So the Twins and the Yankees will be playing September 16th.
Yes.
I think the game is about 6:30-ish. I can't remember. And we will we have an area where it is essentially alcohol free. And please don't bring your vapes either, but they will. But
we also can't stop anyone if they bring a guest and they drink. We can't stop them from bringing a drink in.
Right. So we just sort of forewarn folks on that. But the idea is that we have a recovery event. And we get to focus the entire stadium on this is what recovery is. If you don't know what recovery is, hey, you know what? It's a real thing. So these are the events, September 13th, September 16th. If you have any information you want to gather, you can go to our website, minnesotarecovery.org.
Or give us a call.
Give us a call, 612-584-4158.
Not that you've said that before.
Just a couple of times. So on our journey in doing the amazing work that we do, helping people in our community either find their recovery, rediscover their recovery, we are always looking for financial support. So if you have the ability to donate to us, we are always looking for that. If you know somebody who has been affected by substance use disorder, please direct them our way. We will help them in any way that we can. So I will say thank you for listening, Miss Sarah.
Thank you for listening. Have a good day.
And we will catch you next time around. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.